This is Gemara Baba Basra, Daf Kof Chof Dalid, and today's share has been sponsored as an incredible Zchos Rafua Shlima for Tinoik Ben Miriam Ahuva B'Siyata D'Shemaya. We should continue seeing the incredible Kayach HaTaira bringing a complete Rafua Shlima B'Karayv. We are holding two lines from the wide lines on Kof Chav Gimel and Beis. Apologies for the lateness of today's share. Baruch Hashem, our video is back up and running. And hopefully now that we're catched up from the Yontif season, we'll be back up a day or maybe even two ahead, we will try, of the Daf. And as well, I continuously invite everyone to get involved in the incredible Zichru Simanim, which we will as well try to be up to date within the next few days. Tanu Rabbanan, it says the Gemara, as we continue discussing the halachais of the Pishnayim that a Bachar gets, and today we're going to begin by focusing on whether the Bachar gets kibimuchsek, kibiroi, the halacha that the Bachar only gets Pishnayim of that which the deceased, the father, had at the Shas Betira, not that which comes later. So Tan Rabbanan says the Bryce, HaBachar noitel Pishnayim bizroya ubelechayayim. If we have a Bachar of a Kayin, and then he's taking the Zroya, the Lechayayim, moving on to the first line, the Keva. These are the Manas Kuhuna, Ubin Mukdashim, or different karbanos that belong to the father's estate, Ubishvach Sheshavchu Nechasam Nachamisas Aviem, or to the benefit that came to the property after the death of the father. So the Brisa says that the Bachar gets Pishnayim in both, in all of the aforementioned above. Ketzad, says the Brisa, how is this possible? The father left a cow that was a mukhkar or muskar, different forms of leasing, co-signing the animal to someone else. Or the cow is grazing in the marshes, v'yolda. And before the chalukah happened, after the father was nifter, but before the estate was divided, this animal gives birth, v'yolda. The halacha is Bachar noitel Bishnayim. The Bachar gets Bishnayim. Aval, however, Banu Batim Natu Kramim, Ein Bachar noitel Bishnayim. However, if the brothers built houses on the estates or planted vineyards, then the Bachar does not get Bishnayim. So says the Gemara, let's go a little bit deeper into the Brisa. So that teaches us what the last line of the Brisa meant. Why the Bachar is getting Bishnayim? Because it's an animal that gave birth before the chalukah. Says the Gemara, the Zraya, the Lechayim, the Keva, the foreleg, the jaw, the maw of the animal, what is the case? And if the case is that these were Manas Kuna that came to the father, Pshit, of course the kid gets, the Bachar gets Pishnayim. And if it did not come to the father, Royu, then the obvious kasha, it's not muchsik, it's roi. And this is really, if you want to have one line summing up part A of today's daf, it's this line. A line that we've heard so many times. The Bachar does not get beroi. He does not get that which comes to the estate, only that which the father had. Answers the Gemara, what are we discussing? We're discussing people who are friends of the Kayin. They always give certain parts of their karbanas to this particular Kayin who was their father. And they shechted the animal in the lifetime of the father, and they just didn't give it to him yet. So that's the chiddush. At some level, the father did not have it. At some level, the father's for sure going to get it. That's the chiddush that the Bachar gets Bishnayim v'kasavar. And this comes from the din, Manish lahormu kimi shehormai dami. That a man has kahuna on separated gifts, it's as if it's already separated, and therefore that's the reason the Bachar gets Pishnayim, and that's the chiddush as well. Continues the Gemara dissecting the Brisa. Mukdashim. What is the case of Mukdashim? Lav diduninu. Says the Gemara, how could the Bachar get Pishnayim if there's karbanos that belong to the father? It's not the father's. So why would the Bachar get Pishnayim? Answers the Gemara, V'kachim Kama, leave it to Rav Yosi Aglili, famously that holds the Amar. What does Rav Yosi Aglili hold about Kachim Kailim? He holds it is Mamoin, Bailim, who? Titanya, as we've learned in a Brayso Malu Malu B'Hashem, The rabbis kachim kalim are basically hold shehein mama in bailim. They belong to the owner. Divrei Rav Yossi Galili, and that's the reason why the bachar gets pi shnayim. Says the Gemara, delving into the next part of the brayse. Moshe is a raya ba'avar v'yolda bachar natal b'shtayim. Hashta muchares u'muschares laver shusa demara didu kaima. Asks the Gemara if the animal is rented out, if the animal is in someone else's possession, and yet Amre we say shakil raya shakil the bachar gets vishnayim raya ba'afar mibayi. If the animal is merely grazing out in the pasture, of course the bachar should get vishnayim. Answers the Gemara kamash v'lo and the muchares u'muschares domya de raya ba'afar. It teaches us to equate all the cases. How? In the last line, Maraya ba'afar, shvacha dememila kasi. When the animal is raya ba'afar, when the animal is grazing, it's a shvach. It's a benefit that comes memela. V'loika chasi ba mizayna. And no one spent any money because it's grazing from the pasture. As we turn over to Kuf Chav Daled Amid Aleph. So too says the Gemara, so too if the animal is co-signed, so too the animal is leased out to someone else. Says the Gemara in the top line in Kuchav Dalam at Aleph, Shvacha Dememela Kasi, Tulachasi Ba Mizayni, it's considered Shvacha Dememela that the owner didn't lose any money for it. But let's say the brothers did indeed have to pay for the animal's food, then the Bachar would not get pishtayim. Is the first Rashbam spells out, because we just said, Kamairi, we're discussing a case, Dein, excuse me, Dein Ma'ilma Yisayim Mizaynais, that we are not Ma'ale the Yisayim Mizaynais, but if they gave Mizaynais, then the Bachar would not get Pi Shnayim. Says the Gemara, let's go a bit deeper into this Brisa. Mani, who is this Brisa? Particularly the din that the Bachar takes, that which comes memela. Who is this? Rebbe. This is the shita of Rebbe. Says the Gemara Tanya. Ein bachar not to be shnayim b'shavach sheshavchu nechsasim lachar misas avien. Says the Tanakama, the bachar does not get bishnayim in the profit that comes after the death of the father. Rebbe Yomer ani bachar not to be shnayim b'shavach sheshavchu nechsasim lachar misas avien. Says Rebbe, no. The bachar indeed does yes get bishnayim for the profit that comes to the father lachar misas avien. Aval, however, loi b'shavat yisoimim, but that which the yisoimim themselves created, then the bachar does not get lachar misas avia, and so the brisa is going with the shita of Rebbe. Continues the brisa. 10 lines down, the first one on line is avian. Yarshu shtar chayiv b'char nota b'shnayim. If let's say, if they inherited a shtar chayiv, that someone owed the father money, then the bachar, yes, gets bishnayim. Yotza aleya and shtar chayv. Let's say there's a shtar chayv that the father owed someone else money. Bachar naisim bishnayim. He has to pay double as well. Vim amar. But if the bachar says any naisim any naitel, bachar says, you know what? I'm not going to take double. I don't want to have to pay double. I'm removing myself. Rashai, the bachar is allowed to do that. Says the Gemara, fine. So that's the Baisa, the Shita that we're going with seemingly is Rebbe, that the Shvach that comes Memela, the Bachar does get. Says the Gemara, let's understand the Machlaikas. Mai Taimayu, says the Gemara, the Rabbanan. Where does the Shita of the Rabbanan come from? And we're going to have to understand the Shita of Rebbe. So Mai Taimayu, the Rabbanan, Amar Kra, says the Torah, Lo Seis Eloi, Pishnayim, to give him a double portion. Matana kui rachmana lasis. Lasis is to give, is a matana. The Torah calls it a matana. Ma matana dematye liyadi. Just like a matana, he does not get until it comes into his possession. So too, the bachar is not until he gets it. And that's what the Tanakama holds, that the bachar does not get even that which comes in mimela. However, comes along Rabbi Omer, about 13 lines to the bottom. The first one line is for Rabbi Omer. Comes along Rabbi, and Rabbi says, Amar Kram, Pishnayim Makish Chelik B'chayra L'Chelek Pashit. We equate the Chelik B'chayra to the regular Chelik. Ma'achelek pashi, just like the regular portion that everyone gets. Avgav d'lomata the other, even though the bachar no one got it yet. Avchelek b'chayra avgav d'loi mata liyada, even if he did not get it at the moment. Ask the Gemara in the classical game of ping pong. Rabbanan Nami Yoksiv Bishnayim. What do the Rabbanan do with Rebbe's pasuk? Hule misvei le echad mitzara. They use that pasuk to teach you have to get everything on one border. Rabbi Nami Yoksiv Lasis like Hoshim Amar Eini Naitav Eini Naisein. That teaches us the chiddush of the end of the brisa that if the bachar wants to say I'm not going to give, I'm not going to get, then Rashai, the bachar, is allowed to do such. We conclude the first half of today's shiur with Rav Papo comes along and qualifies a point of this machlekes of Rebbe and the Tanakama. Amar Rav Papa Dikla, says Rav Papa, if a small palm tree is left over and ve'olim and it grew stronger, Ara ve'asik sir toin, or a piece of land and it accrued sediment, everyone agrees that when the bachar takes pishnayim, everyone agrees, the bachar takes pishnayim of that area. Ki pligi, what's the machlekes? Bechafura, the machlekes is v'have shovlei. The case is where they left a field that had shoots and they developed into a new entity, into ears, into full-grown crop. Shalufafi v'have tamri, or date blossoms, and they grew into actual dates. Demar savar Rabbi Yol Shivcha Demamela Amar savar. Whereas the Rabbanan hold Ishtani, it's changed. Therefore, the Bachar will not get that. So Rabbi comes along and adds an extra detail to this machlekes if it grows into a new fruit. The Gemara continues in the last line. Amar Rabbi Rachanam Rav Chia Asaid Kedivrei Rabbi Asa Kedivrei Chachamim Asa. Says Rabbi Chanan named Rav Chia, an interesting psak halacha. If you do like Rebbe, you're good. If you do like the Chachamim, you're good as well. So we turn over to Amid Beis, and the Gemara now comes along to explain what exactly does this mean. What does this mean that if you do like this one, you're good, if you do like this one, you're good? Explains the Gemara, Misaf Kolei, cause Rav Chia, Rabbi Chanan named Rav Chia was misopek. Yalacha ki Rabbi mechavei roi, v'loi mechavei rov. The dictum states, Gemara in Eruvin, halacha ki Rabbi mechavei roi, as the Rashbam quotes. So do we say that it's only mechavei roi when he's arguing with a yachid, a singular person, but not when he's arguing with chavei rov, the Rabbanan? The oy halacha ki Rabbi mechavei rov, mechavei roi, v'afilu mechavei rov. So Rav Chia was not sure, and that's the reason Rav Chia held, whichever way you do, you're going to be fine. Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rav Oser Lasos Kedivrei Rabbi. He argues and he says absolutely not. Cannot do like Rabbi. Kasavar Lacha Ki Rabbi Mechavei Roi V'loi Mechavei Rov, and therefore we do not pass like Rabbi in this case. But Rav Nachman Didei Amar, Rav Nachman himself comes along and he says Mutar Lasos Kedivrei Rabbi. That was the Rav Nachman name of Rav. But Rav Nachman himself says you could do like Rabbi. Kasavar Lacha Ki Rabbi Mechavei Roi. So machlek is exactly as to the psak halach, and we continue with another sheet. So we started with b'shem Rav Chia, then we got him to b'shem Rav, then we came to Rav Nachman. Now Amar Rava says Rava Aser Lasos Kedivrei Rabbi, similar to Shem Rav. Now like Rabbi Vim Asa, but if you did it asui, it's okay. Kasavar Mat, and he holds it's in the middle, and therefore once it's done, but you should not do like Rabbi. Itmar continues, Kusavar Matim Itmar, that we're not sure, it's in the middle, he's inclined like the Rabban, and therefore if you did it already, B'diavad, we would let it stand. Says the Gemara, Tani Rav Nachman, comes along Rav Nachman, Bashar Sifrei, Dvei Rav, in all the Svarim, in the Yeshiva of Rav, it says as follows. B'chol asher yimatzei eloi, quoting a pasuk from the Chalukah, Pral l'shavach sheshvichu yar shenachem misaviyim. Aval shvach sheshvichu dechasem nachem misaviyim shakel. Then the Bachar indeed takes Umani, and whose shita is Rabbi. This is shitas Rabbi. Brisa number 1. Brisa number 2. Tini Rami Bar Chama b'shar sifrei dervei Rav. So they're uncovering different manuscripts And over here, what do they find? It says in the Torah, "V'chol Hashem matiloi, pral shach shech v'nechaz lachar misavien, chol shevach sheshvichel yarshin lachar misaviem, deloi shakalumani rabbanani." So we have conflicting braysos, and this, of course, adds to the confusion as to what precisely is the psak halacha. Omar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. One more discussion for the day. We are smack in middle of the Amid. Omar Rav Yehuda Amar. Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel teaches in bechar noitel pishnayim b'milveh. Anaya halacha. A bechar does not take pishnayim when it comes to a milveh, when it comes to a loan owed to the father. The bechar does not get pishnayim in this. So says the Gemara Laman. If you're going to tell me this is shitas rabbanon, hash shvachatas bershusei amri rabbanon lo yishakil milveh mi bayit pashit. So what would the chiddush Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel be? Ela leRabbi. V'elaha detanya. But if it's shitas Rabbi, we have a problem because we have a brayso that says yarshu shtar chayv bechar noitel pishnayim. So the end of the brayso that we started off with today, that if you inherit a shtar chayv, the bechar does get pishnayim. Bein b'milveh, bein b'rebbe. So comes out that brayso mani lo Rebbe, v'lo rabbanon. So explains the Gemara, la'olam l'rabbanon. Really, you're right, it's the rabbanon. So what's the chiddush? It's pashit v'etzrich. Sal gedei t'chamina milveh kim di naked shtaro kimandi gavye danya. Maybe even the rabbanon that hold that which comes mimelu, you do not get. But they hold that maybe holding on to the shtar is considered like you have something. Kamash Mulan, that even according to the Rabbanon, you do not in such a case. So Shalchul Mitam, they sent from there, from Eretz Yisrael, V'char noitel pishnayim, v'paskin b'milveh, avaloi b'rivs. Leman, who's this like? Well, we have another, the same problem. Im the Rabbanon Hashem shvachatas b'rshusei, am Rabbanon lo shakal milveh mi bai, elo the Rebbe. Rabbi Beribis law, you don't get ribis. Vatanu, you had the brayso we just quoted. Rabbi Aram Bachar to be shnei beim milveh beim beribis. So answers the Gemara. Rabbanani milveh keman de gavi dame. This brayso holds lemaisa that according to the Rabbanan, yes, indeed, a milveh is considered like collected. And for the Rabbanan would fold that by a milveh the bechar would yes get, even though the Rabbanan hold even that which is coming immediately you do not get, but by a milveh you would yes get. Pick it up from here. B'siyata dish.